Hey, everybody. My name is Rachael Phillips, and I'm the owner of Ayahuasca Microdosing.com. Um, Started the business probably.
Got some right here.
Yeah. I started the business, I guess it's been, well, almost 2 years. No, it's almost been one year. 1 year. I started about a year ago. And I how I kind of got started was about 5 years ago, my daughter had come to me and said that she was 22 and she had come to me and she had said that her dad had molested her from the age of 4 to 10.
Oh my God.
So I was married to this man for like 24 years, and you think you know somebody, and then that moment I'm like, I don't even know who the heck you are.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the first I went home and I confronted him, and I knew it was true. I mean, my daughter's not going to lie about something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I I felt a lot of shock, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame for not knowing that I should be protecting my daughter from her own father. So it felt like really, it just felt really heavy. And
Yeah, I can imagine.
so after I had found out, I started getting this mouth pain, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to the dentist, and I ended up like 2 days later getting sepsis. So
Wow.
I had to be in the hospital for like 2 months getting IV antibiotics. My body was just shutting down because I was like, this news was just overwhelming. It's
Wow.
just like, I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't take it mentally and physically. I think my body, everything just started shutting down.
Yeah. I mean, it's all connected, you know?
Right, right. Anytime something physically is going on with me, it is a reminder that it needs to be looked at.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, so I me and my daughter was and we ended up moving in together and stuff, and after I got out of the hospital. And so it was I still had a lot of shame and guilt, and so I was drinking,
Mm-hmm.
and just to cope with it. And so I ended up going like to like a rehab place, and I got about a year clean. And so I was like, um, and so I met another person, another karmic relationship. And I didn't know it was because I hadn't dealt with my childhood issues. And they were keep repeating into my life, people just like my parents.
Mm.
I kept attracting these people, and I'm like going, what the heck is going on? And so I knew I was the like common denominator of
Mm-hmm.
it all. So um so I ended up, being with that guy for probably about a year, and we got into some drugs, and I spent most of the time running away from him. But the day I left, I thought, well,
Mm-hmm.
if I leave, maybe he'll come with me, because I still had that codependent relationship going on. Like, I'm going to save him, we're going to save each other type thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, but I ended up finding myself, and so I just worked really hard. Just I'd never been alone in my life. I mean, when I got graduated high school, um, I got married and had a kid. I didn't know what it was like to be alone. And
Mm.
so I was like working 12 hours a day, constantly podcasts were on in the
Mm-hmm.
car all day long. I'm trying to trying to connect, spiritually. Even though when I was 4 years old, I was talking to my angels, and of course that was like, you're not allowed to do that, it was shut down. It was shut down. But anyway, so it's just been, so I went to my first ayahuasca ceremony over a year and a half ago. And I had never done psychedelics before. And I just knew I was probably about 9 months clean. And I told my psychiatrist, I was like, she had me on this PTSD medicine that would lower my blood pressure so bad at night. It helped the nightmares, but I would pass out when I went to the restroom.
Oh, wow.
So I was like,
good.
I can't do this no more. So, and she said, we could put you on something else, but the insurance won't pay for it. And I'm like, okay, psychiatric medicines never really helped me. And I was 15 years old when I started taking it, and it's never really helped me. So I started going down the rabbit hole and found out about ayahuasca. I've done a lot of drugs in my life, but I had never done a psychedelic. For one thing, it scared me. I heard people talking about it. And I'm like, I don't understand the purpose of that. But it was to explore my subconscious mind. It wasn't something that I was like looking for on the outside. It was something that I was trying to heal on the inside.
Yeah, like deeper than you could even imagine. And then you could
Right.
really explain to yourself. It's just like some kind of subconscious calling to you.
Right. It was something that it was time, and I was ready for it because I was ready to work on my issues that I'd never worked on before. But that first ceremony, it was actually in the States. My first ceremony, I felt God's love. Like I had never felt unconditional love like that before in my life. I didn't know that's what it's supposed to feel like, and our creator doesn't judge us, and our creator loves us. And I was expecting like a God. I was raised in church, and I was expecting a God, that was, if you don't do this way or whatever, you're not good enough, that kind of God.
Like
But I felt
judgmental.
right. And God doesn't judge anything. And I felt that love. And so that kind of carried me through. Because after I had come off the antidepressants and stuff, I had been off for about 2 months, and I thought, I'll just get off the antidepressants long enough for me to do a ceremony, because you can't take antidepressants, if you're going into a ceremony. With ayahuasca, you can't. So I figured I would do the ceremony and get right back on the medicine, but I didn't have to. Because it was a big miracle. I haven't been depressed since then. Over a year and a half. I wouldn't ever think about getting on any kind of medicine like that, because I think that we have to, the trauma in our body, I think we're meant to feel it and not try to escape from the body,
Yep.
That is so important. And so I was able to go to Peru like 4 months later, and so I did 3 more ceremonies in Peru. And I just went deeper and deeper and deeper. But a lot of the ceremonies were just feeling the love, and ayahuasca repairing my heart, because I was like, how do I trust people? How do I ever trust anybody again? Because my husband of 24 years lied to me,
It's insane.
How do I trust, my parents, and it's like, and I lost, my whole family through all this, and and we're having to pick up the pieces, of something that was done years ago. And but the first year with the microdosing and stuff, and Aya told me, she says, what I suggest is you take this medicine every day after you come back from ceremony. And that just kept the lessons that I learned in ceremony with me throughout the day. I mean, I went and, worked and did all those kind of things while on the microdosing. The first year I developed like a lot of self-love, for me, because I never knew what self-love was. I didn't know. I just thought, destroying my body and that's what I was supposed to do, and it's like now I treat my body like a temple. I mean, for years I smoked, cigarettes, and that was probably one of the hardest addictions that I had to come off of. But it's like I love myself enough not to do that and just sit with why I'm feeling a certain way.
Can you describe how ayahuasca kind of gave you that switch to see your body as a sacred temple rather than just something for pleasure and just something we abuse?
Just like with the Aya, she taught me how to really just love every bit about me, my body, everything about me. And it didn't come all at once. It came like over microdosing for like, 1 or 2 months. It's like the first year I learned a lot about self-love. The second year, but I think I was like, she was doing it, the self-love, teaching me about self-love, because the second year was where we really delved into the childhood trauma and why I kept attracting these same people that were like my parents, because I hadn't learned my lesson for this year. I mean, for this lifetime. And I was gonna keep attracting them. So I've been kind of like a hermit, for the last few years, just trying to get my life straightened out,
Yeah, sometimes you have to do that. And it seems as though you've discovered the law of karma, because that's all it is. It's just lessons that we have to learn for some reason. Maybe it's past lifetimes, maybe it's past actions that we're not even aware of, but we build up this karma. And people think it's like, karma is this thing where you do good and you get good, but it's not really about good and bad. It's more of lessons that we have to learn because we have certain desires and attachments that cling us to this material world. It's a long story, but you seem to have come to that realization of what it is.
Well, and I've seen that, like, things like soul contracts I had with my parents, and they have no idea why. I mean, they're just acting out of their own wounds or their own trauma, and they have no idea, why they treat me the way they do or whatever, but it's grown me into the person that I am today. And I wouldn't give anything for it, but I don't have to have a relationship with them either, because they just don't get it.
Yeah. Do you think what don't they get? Like the deeper connections that we have, like that soul contract, like you talked about?
Yeah, they don't believe. I don't think, they're just not very conscious people.
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean. Just some people just don't understand that there's more to the human condition than meets the eye.
Right. And I don't. And at first it was like I wanted to save them, and it was like, but I think they were placed in my life, for me to grow,
Yeah,
and and I send them love all the time because they've made me who I am. I'm a lot stronger person than this weak person that I was when I graduated high school. Yeah. And I only accept good things for myself and don't put up with abuse or put up with whatever,
Yeah, that's the way to be. It's all mindset. Like you have to,
Uh-huh.
I think it's kind of coming to that conclusion of it's like a very mature mindset of that everything that happens in my life is not exactly of my own accord, but my own, like how I respond to it is on my own accord, because like
Right.
we're gonna have shit that just happens, like like what happened to you, and
Mhm.
I mean that was what happened to you is like that's insane, a crazy story. No one should even have to go through that. But I think you learned a valuable lesson in that it's, shit like that could happen, whether in this lifetime, the next lifetime, whatever happens, but you just, it's how we respond to that
Mhm.
and the lessons that we learn from our sufferings. And that's how we grow, not as like a human being, but as a spiritual being at that deeper
Right.
level. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
What other insights have you learned from ayahuasca? Because like personally, I've never done it, so I don't really I mean, I know a lot about it from other people, but really the only way to learn something from plant medicines is to do them yourself. So if you could accurately describe, like, before and after your ceremonies, who you were before, who you are now, and who you're becoming, I think it would better give a better,
mhm.
of a better explanation of who you are and what this plant has done for you.
Um Boy, ayahuasca has really just changed my life. Before I was like, I couldn't I didn't know who I was. And when I started working with the plant medicine, I was like, I learned who Rachel was,
Hmm.
because I always just like a people pleaser. Um Wanted to fix everybody, and they didn't need to be fixed, real codependent,
Yeah.
and I would do anything, to like um give the shirt off my back to anybody, and I've learned that not everybody um not everybody's good, and of
Yeah.
course we're learning this today. And like, as far as like, as far as the pharmaceutical companies and stuff, I see all of them falling.
Yeah.
Um, I
100%.
I think they've messed. I think they have. I think they have messed a lot of people up.
Yeah, to say the
And
least. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
It's craziness.
yeah. Um, and PTSD is not something easy, but I don't believe that you can numb it. I think it has to be felt to be released.
Like
And
confronted.
yeah, right,
Hmm.
right. Because we want to avoid the pain. I always wanted to avoid the pain. But after ayahuasca, I just learned who I was and that I am a good person, and I've always
Hmm.
been a good person, and it doesn't matter, what anybody else thinks,
Exactly. As long as you know your intentions are pure, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I want to help. I want to help everybody,
Yeah.
but it does take a lot of work, But
Yeah.
I mean, everybody can do it. If I did it, anybody can do it.
That's true. Everybody can do it. It
Yeah.
it is a thing. What do you do what though? Like what do you mean? Is like this to like self-love, to take care of yourself, love you, like to love your whole being?
Um,
Is that
yeah.
kind of what we're
I think
talking
that's
about?
where it starts. I think that's where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was able to like really address some major childhood issues that I had. I had a lot of abandonment issues, that I had to work through, and then I kept seeing a pattern of how I was like attracting these different people into my life. And if I didn't learn from this lesson, I was going to keep getting more and more of it. And I was like, my body just couldn't handle it no more. I was like, I got to do the work. Yeah.
So yeah, what is the work that you learned that you have to do from ayahuasca?
It's just being present. Um, just doing good things for my body. Meditating. I have a practice that I do every day, First thing I do when I get up is I take my drops, and I also use Rape, Rape, Hoppe.
Mm-hmm. That's
Rap-
what they put up the nose, right?
mm-hmm.
So you do
And,
that up your nostrils?
oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Ooh, every day?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
intense. I've never done it, but I've seen people like get it and they just like, oh, it's just, and they start like, I don't know. That's cool though. I feel like that is a detoxifying effect.
It helps clear the mucus
Mm-hmm.
out. Yeah, the first time I got Rape was in Peru. And actually the first time I got it, I threw up.
Yeah, I've heard that people do that.
It's pretty intense, but when you do it to yourself, it's easier after a while.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but that's how I spend my mornings every morning, just meditating, talking to my angels and guides. And ayahuasca, she's always in my ear constantly. And, like when I got sick in January, she's like, Rachel, I really want you to work on this business, It's like, because I was like attached to a wound vac for my stomach because they couldn't close me. I had to be like by electrical cord.
Wow.
And she's like, and God just slows me down, It's like, okay, this is what we want you to work on. If you're not going to work on it, then, so I started working on it more in June. So I'm just growing more.
Yeah, I like it. I just got it in 2 days ago. I took some of your drops and it's just like this. It's hard to explain because I want to dive into it more, but it's like I felt this calming effect in the body, like kind of like very subtle. And yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like just I don't know, just a really good feeling. I couldn't really explain it. It was just like a feeling of elation and just like kind of clarity. It was very strange. It's like a feeling of having energy, but not energy like caffeine. It's like energy like having clarity, but also being calm at the same time, I felt. And it's just interesting to me because then what is in what I'm talking about right now for everybody is wondering is Rachel's product, Ayahuasca Microdosing, which everybody can obtain if they would like. I'll link everything in the description. They can use the what is the keyword? It's conscious, and you get 10% off your order.
Mm-hmm.
So what it is the bee cappy vine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you mix it with cat's claw, and what was the other concoction?
Bob Santa. The first year mainly I worked with the ayahuasca with the Bob and Santa, and it just opened my heart.
Yeah, it seems like it is like that. It touches on the heart chakra. Like I get this like I didn't know what it was, but like this weird kind of like pressure in my heart, and I was like, what is going on? And I also actually it's funny. Before I did this video, I took some drops. I did a Wim Hof breathing exercise, and also smoked a bowl of cannabis. So I am feeling very very zenned out, I guess you could say. But it was a good feeling. Like I've reached like a state of, I guess, just like it was like a very calm state of samadhi. Like it was just my entire body was just at this very relaxed, clear state, and I just felt all of my bodily sensations. And yeah, I approve. I approve. For anyone listening, go try it out yourself if you don't believe me. And what makes me curious, right? So if it's an MAO inhibitor, which is the B-capivine, right? I've heard of people saying that other plants have DMT in them, correct? But like I've heard that people don't know because there's not really a lot about it. But like other than the actual ayahuasca concoction, what if these other plants that we're ingesting also have DMT? So essentially, like when you take that, is it like almost like creating some kind of DMT effect? Like what are the actual chemical effects in our body is what I want to know, because there is obviously some kind of effect. And it's got to be something in the B capivine that affects us, right?
Well, I think the MEOI, it helps with intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And the DMT part puts a picture to it.
Oh, okay.
The
Oh, I see.
visualization.
That makes sense.
So with like a microdose, you really, I mean, you're not going to go through your day with your eyes closed. And plus, a microdose is not that much like a full ceremony would be anyway.
Yeah.
So you really don't need the DMT. But you would have the intuition, the connection to earth, to Mother Ayahuasca, that type of thing. The lessons learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though you have this unconscious connection to the plant or the spirit of the plant?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Once
Mm-hmm.
once it's in your body, I mean, it's there. You know.
Mm-hmm. Is
Yeah.
it
And
like
I'm
a
about to.
go ahead, what were you saying?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, is it like a connection to like some kind of divine energy of the universe, would you say? Or like of earth?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. As soon as I take it, and I've only had probably 10 ayahuasca experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time I had one was probably, I don't know, probably a year and a half ago. And I'm about ready to go on to into another ceremony.
You feel some
Um,
kind of calling?
yeah, I'm getting close. Yeah, I'm getting
Mm.
close to another one. And I don't think I'll go to Peru this time, but yeah, I'm getting called again. Some
Would
more
you ever
work.
do it yourself?
Yeah.
We'll say, hypothetically, would you ever do it yourself without like in a ceremonial environment?
It's not um
It's not
I
the
have
same
done
kind of energy.
I have done it by myself, but it wasn't like a full dose
Oh
like
yeah.
I would do in a ceremony. Because with Aya and me, like if I was to take a full dose, it's really hard for me to walk.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's really hard for me to walk. But the times that I've done it by myself, I would take maybe just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely recommend anybody to go to a ceremonial space, for that.
Yeah, definitely. Do it where it's safe with people you
Mhm.
trust, in a location you trust. Always be safe with these substances.
Yeah.
Not behind any heavy equipment. Yes, be safe. What would you say what what is the experience like for you? Like what do you really is it communicating? I remember you said something before we were on the phone. You said it's like an information download. Do you feel as though you're receiving information that you weren't really capable of before?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like all at once. I just get little pieces like every few days. Yeah. I couldn't when I was working through like with my parents and stuff, I couldn't understand. My mom had told me, I don't know, probably almost 2 years ago. We were talking about me and my daughter, and she goes, "Rachel, I think you knew the whole time. You just didn't do anything about it." And that was, I knew about the molestation and stuff. And I said, "Well, Mom, obviously you don't know who I am, and
Hmm.
that really bothers me." And that was when I cut off the ties, and I couldn't understand. I kept asking my guides and I kept asking my angels, like, why is she saying this? Does she actually believe this? And then I was just getting um my guys were saying what she's got is narcissism. And I was like, what the heck is that? Um I'm like, what, I don't understand what that is. And then I was like doing research. And I was like, oh, my ex-husband was a psychopathic narcissist.
Hmm.
My ex-boyfriend was a narcissist. And I'm like, I'm attracting these people. So I get like little nudges. I'm like on what was going on. And so I was able to put it together.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And
Do you
she was
think
just
you're
acting.
You're like a psychic?
Huh?
You think you're like a psychic in a way?
Yeah. After a while, yes, yes.
You like develop that
Af-
ability?
yeah, yeah.
Do you think that's like anybody's capable to do that?
I think everybody's capable of that. I
Yeah.
believe that a lot of times the world is going to go more to telepathic type communication.
Communication. Yeah, I think so too.
Right.
Slowly waking up to these abilities that we have in our body.
Mhm.
I think some people are better though. I think some people are more inclined to pick up on energies. But yeah, I think everybody, it's kind of like the Force in Star Wars, I guess. It's like some people are more susceptible to having psychic abilities, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we're all capable of it, even if it's just as simple as just like feeling vibrations in the room. It just kind of like feeling those subtle energies of a location, a person, a
Mhm.
certain music, like just kind of like, exploring more what it means to be human than just the five senses, kind of just touching upon taking in, like you said, other information downloads.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So when you speak to these entities, is this through ayahuasca, or is this like through your meditations, and like do you see visual representations, or is it something that you just kind of like hear a voice, or you know what I mean? Like how would you describe that?
I'm more clairsentient.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What's
just
that mean?
a knowing and a feeling.
Oh.
Um, I I don't get visions. Sometimes I will get like a whisper in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that just happened like since I started using psychedelics.
Yeah.
Um, because I didn't have no reference point before, until I had started talking to me in ceremonies,
Mm-hmm.
and then, I could see it. I mean, I could hear it, Yeah.
Yeah, any regular person hearing us now is like, "What? I don't want to hear voices in my ear. What are you talking about?"
But
But I
it's
mean, it's a good voice.
yeah,
Guidance.
it's not going to be something like, oh, you need to go kill your sister or whatever,
Yes.
I mean, it's
Mhm.
not something that is like destructive. Yeah.
Yes. I know
Yeah.
what you mean. I think it's just being able to look at our subconscious mind in a different light. It's kind of like being able to listen to it and like tap into that unconscious mind. And I think when you tap into your unconscious mind that we don't really see on purpose, it kind of brings out like just different representations of our subconscious thoughts, whether it's in the form of auditory hallucinations,
Mhm.
visual hallucinations, or just simple like your intuition, just like this weird intuitive knowing. But I think any way that you put it, it's kind of these substances and meditation techniques all allow us to tap into that just like weird different wavelength that we don't, it's seeing outside of the default mode network that this world is built for us. And when you step outside that default mode network, it is like an information download, like you're taking in just so much energy, and then you it's good energy, I guess, it is like this weird, when you see outside of the matrix per se, you see outside of fear. And outside of fear is what we talked about before. It's that unconditional love. And when you get the information download of that unconditional love, there's nothing else that can heal you better than that. It's that self-love, and then through that self-love, you love others, and that's what life's all about. It's that simple. It's that
Right.
simple.
Yeah, and once we stop acting out of our own traumas, and it's like before ayahuasca, I would like react to everything,
Hmm.
and nothing really bothers me as much anymore, I mean, I don't people don't get a reaction out of me, I'm pretty even killed now,
Yeah, there's power in that. Just being
yeah,
able to not be reactive and be able to just step back and take a breath for a second, depending on whatever happens. There's so much power in that because most people can't do that. Like that's not like, it's actually like a special ability to be able to disconnect from outside forces and stimuli and say, all right, take a second. How am I going to react to this situation? There's so much power in that. And if everybody else had that and was on that wavelength, then we could do that all the time. Because I don't do that all the time. I'm not going to say I'm perfect and I'm like this, super saiyan of Zen. It's something that we curate and that we build. But if we were all on that same wavelength of saying that, like, I'm going to think about my decisions and how I treat this person and how I go about it, and, essentially just love this person and love whatever situation comes my way, and really just respect my own decision making process, then we create a better world from that. And that's why these plant medicines are so powerful and so important for humanity right now, because it just allows us to deprogram and see the truth, y'all. It's deprogram and see that love is the only way, man. It's really that simple. I know it sounds corny, right? It sounds like, what are these guys talking about? What are these
That's who
hippies
we
talking
are.
about?
That's
It's
who we are. We're love.
Yeah.
That's who
And
we are.
that's the gist of it. It's that these things show us that our essential true nature, deep down, deeper than you could ever imagine, is this primordial force of love that just runs through us for some reason. And right now, in the world, it's just like plagued with fear. And you can't have one or the other. Like
Mhm.
I mean, you can't have fear and love. You got to have one or the other, man. We got to like switch up the paradigm to like the whole, when we are, it's a slow process, but we got to switch up the paradigm of just like you said, getting back to the point, just thinking about our actions. Don't be reactive, because I think a lot of evil and bad shit that happens in the world is just because we react to our animalistic instincts of fear and just that the low chakras, the this anxiety, and it's just we just react. We do things that we probably shouldn't have, and accidents happen, and we create a crazy ass world like we're living in right now. But we're getting there. It's a slow process, and these plant medicines are our allies in that process.
Yeah, they definitely have an intelligence to them.
Yeah, it's like a guidance. They're somehow like guiding us in the way, and they'll show you the truth whether you like it or not. They'll
Right.
slap you right in the face. That's the thing, because you can confront your truths without plant medicines. You can confront your whatever you need to confront, whatever that void you need to fill with your fears, your anxieties, the things that your childhood traumas, whatever. You can do that on your own. It might take a little more time and it might take a little more effort, but you can do that. But I think the whole gist of it is that we just need to confront it. And ayahuasca, psilocybin, LSD, whatever the substance or meditation practice is, these things allow us to really transcend the state of the default mode network, confront these things that are causing us problems, causing us trouble, that our unconscious mind knows, but our conscious mind doesn't. And it's like a quick, like, reality check to your conscious mind. And it'll show you, and it'll feel like the truth. You'll feel like this crazy truth that you've never felt before, and know that like this thing is guiding you consciously, whether you want to call it Mother Ayahuasca, God, spirits, demons, whatever it is. There's some kind of unconscious force that is present always at all times. You just got to tap in. You just got to tap in. It's that easy. Oh, man. I don't know what else to say after that one. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand what like psychedelics are for,
Yeah.
just to explore your subconscious mind. Things that you haven't thought of since you were a kid will come up.
Mm.
And it's it's not
Yeah.
easy, but I think it's worth it,
Yeah.
to
It
have a
seems.
great
Sorry.
life now. Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to try and talk over you.
Oh no, good.
It seems like these things, it's put us through a certain kind of, in yoga we call it like tapasya. It's like heat, like just general, just like weird suffering. Like it puts you through like just mental, just just like a mental exercise, like in a very quick amount of time. Like it seems to make it so like your brain can just light up in ways that it couldn't light up before. It's just like it unlocks something that we couldn't unlock. And through that, it might put us through some kind of like hard lesson learning process, which is in turn, like, it's almost like a form of suffering, right? It's almost like a form of causing us this weird energy, like heat in our minds. And it seems like that's how humans grow, whether it's like physically, like through exercise, we lift weights or put ourselves through some kind of crazy intensity, or we can also do mental intensity, right? Through these psychedelic substances. And it's the same thing. Like, you put yourself through it, you confront your demons, you just you peel your layers back. And it's not really an easy process, but it seems like it's the same thing. It's just like an expulsion of energy. That's why there's like a purge, right? With ayahuasca, it's just like there's some kind of weird energy unconsciously locked inside of our body that we need to just get out. It's just like there's something we just need to like literally expel. And it's not an easy process. I've come to the conclusion, within this past year, that in order to grow as a human being, it's not easy. It's not meant to be easy. We all want it to be easy, right? We all want the easy road, but it's not meant to be. I don't think it's meant to be tough. We're meant to learn lessons through that, our struggle, through that journey, whatever, that hero's journey, if you want to call it that. And yeah, it's just I think if you're okay with that and okay with these intense ayahuasca sessions, like, because when you go to an ayahuasca session, right, like, it's probably not going to be fun. It's not going to be something you enjoy, but you full well know that you're putting yourself through this experience. I guess you can say it's just an experience for bettering yourself, right? It's to better yourself, and then from that you better the world, and it's just good energy.
I think through pain we grow.
Yeah, through pain, through suffering, through only if you allow it, though. Like, I don't think you can take pain and you can take suffering, and everybody suffers, but not everybody grows from their suffering. I think it's once you know that the pain and suffering is for you to grow, or else you're just going to keep going through it.
Or you're going to be a victim for the rest of your life. You got a choice, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the choice. It definitely allows us to grow, but only if you allow it to help you grow. And that starts with mindset. And that's what these practices and substances do, is they allow us to see ourselves, our full selves, our conscious self and our unconscious self, in a different way. And from that perspective, the conscious perspective, you are able to grow and flourish and be happy. That's really what it's about. Be happy and be free and be who you're supposed to be in this life, with the least amount of suffering. It's a process, though. It's a long process.
It sure is a long process, and every few months I'm like, oh, I'm glad that's over, and then I've got more to grow, and it's like more to learn, and I don't think it's ever over. I think as long as we're humans, that we're just going to keep growing and learning. So, it is what it is,
Yeah, that's what it's about.
But if I hadn't used psychedelics before, I think I would still be on antidepressants, numbed out, and probably using hard drugs still,
How did psychedelics change your view of God and the divinity? Because you said you went to church, right?
Right.
And it was a classic Christian Catholic raising.
It was a Christian church. Down in the South, we had some pretty my grandparents preacher talked about hell every weekend.
Oh yeah.
And it was just, and so I spent that time not listening to the pastor because I didn't know it back then, but I kind of did.
Mm-hmm.
But um but it was just I had my own church during that time, my couple hours, and I would just spend time talking to God, and so I used that time really well. I always pray to God like on the outside, like he's somebody out there. But through ayahuasca, I realized that we all are a piece of God,
Mm-hmm.
and that I had to embrace it.
Mm.
Um, and so then I quickly knew that, God isn't somebody that we look outside of ourselves. He's inside of us.
Yep.
Um, and that was very comforting to me.
Mm.
Um, and he's not a God that says, if you do this, then I'll love you more or whatever, he loves us no matter what.
Yes. Just by default, it's love. It's all love.
Right. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's who we are. Yeah.
What more do you want from a realization than that, huh? That's a beautiful realization, to know that you don't need to, there is no fear. All of our pain and sufferings, they're not real, essentially. Like, behind it all is this force that is guiding us along and helping us realize our us. It's funny. It's like we are God, but it's like a piece of God. We are not fully the whole, but we also are at the same time. And I think that's kind of what I've got from these plant medicines in my practice, is that we are I am this body, as Gary Haskins, speaking into a microphone on camera right now, but also at the same time, I am you
Mm-hmm.
listening. And we are one through this transmission, and we are one even not through this transmission. We're one through everything else, through atomically, biologically, genetically. We share everything. Like, we are all this process unfolding upon itself, and that is what we are. That's God. We're between the yin and the yang. We're the separation and the connection at the same time. And what more beautiful of a concept is that, to know that we are, even though we are separated, me and you, it's just like a game. It's just like this weird game that we're playing with each other.
We're
But
actors.
we're
We're
actors.
actors.
Because, like, it's to fool. We're actors to fool ourselves. It's essentially so we don't get so lonely, and so we can experience the phenomena of love.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's essentially it. That's
Yeah.
I think that's probably the greatest realization that you can come to. Other than that, and then from there, that's my realization, at least. I don't know about what everybody else's is.
Uh-huh.
And from there, I act. From that place, I act out of that. It's more selfless action. It's more just seeing, looking into other people's eyes and knowing that, even though if they don't know that they're a part of the divine creation, that I know, and
Right.
at least I know, and I'm going to treat them to the best of my ability, fairly, knowing that they are me.
Right.
It's great. It's a beautiful realization, and that's why these plant medicines are so powerful, man. People are thinking, when you hear people, when I hear people tell stories of, it's the aesthetics of it and the sensory parts of these psychedelic medicines, I'm like, yeah, that's great and that's cool, and I felt high and it was fun. You saw a waterfall or something, and you went hiking. But what about what's underneath? I think it's up to the person to use these tools to come to those certain realizations. And not everybody, it's not the molecule, it's the experience, it's the whole experience that you get from the molecule of either DMT or psilocybin, or even something like THC, or anything, any psychoactive psychedelic substance. I think it's more about how you facilitate the experience around it, that allows you to reach mystical states of union, mystical states of transcending your default mode network, and seeing that all is love. And then we become better people from that, you know I think you feel what I'm saying, right? It's that's
know exactly what you're saying.
it's just something like once you have that experience of ayahuasca, I've never done it, but once you have that transcendental experience of some kind of psychedelic, it's something that you don't really lose track of. It's not really the substance that you lose track of. It's not the high that I lose track of. It's the insights and the knowledge that I never lose track of. That's always right here. That's what's important. That's why we need to think about and use these things differently and
Mhm.
use these things to better ourselves. And it's cool, everybody. I encourage, like, freedom. People should be able to experiment however they want with their consciousness, but I think rather than using them just at a music festival or a rave or just to get high and watch The Simpsons or something, that's cool, that's fun, they're not hurting anybody. But if we really explore these things for what they are, and that's chemical messengers from Earth, literally they grow from Earth. Okay, we don't have to synthesize any of this. I mean, some things are, but like, ayahuasca, psilocybin, peyote, uh, cannabis, all of these things are from, we don't got to do anything. We plant the seed, it grows. It's like a gift from the guy in mind. We need to explore it more, and we are. I understand we are living in a time where we are, but it needs to be integrated. I believe it needs to be like almost integrated back into our society, because these things at a time were in our society, like, and they still are in some places of the world, like in the Amazon, and wherever they practice these rituals. I think it needs to be at a collective. Like, we actually need to have these integrated in our society so people aren't so depressed. Like, what's the biggest ailment other than the coronavirus right now? It's mental health. It's
Yeah,
probably up there for, like, I don't know the numbers, but it's definitely up there. People are
yeah,
not happy right now, and I understand why.
yeah.
But these things can help us reach certain realizations if used correctly to live a happier and healthier life. It's that simple. The cat's out of the bag, man.
Yeah, I definitely, I mean, like, this has been a stressful year for a lot of people.
Everybody.
Even for me, I mean, my health was crap when all this started,
Mm-hmm.
in January, and if I didn't have my microdosing,
Mm.
um, I don't know if I would have fared too well,
Yeah.
um, with
Have,
all
have
the.
you ever tried microdosing on anything like mushrooms or anything?
I do with mushrooms.
Okay.
Usually with the Aya, I'll do
Mm-hmm.
for about 3 weeks, Aya, and then I'll microdose with mushrooms the last week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Aya seems to be better for me, because it helps with the anxiety. The mushrooms, sometimes they can cause anxiety,
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean. I know what
yeah,
you mean.
right. But like you were saying earlier about, I did mushrooms one time with a guy I went to high school with last summer,
Yep.
and he wanted to do it for fun, and I just couldn't get into it after you'd done Aya,
Mm-hmm.
and went deep, and deep, and I'm like, and like I said, "Well, I don't know, tonight's just not a good night," but I ended up doing it, and I was just, I wish I hadn't, it's because
Oh
it's
yeah.
very serious. It's very, um, I don't take these medicines, just for
Recreationally.
fun, just for fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, I just have a lot of respect for it, and how it's changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's how they should be looked at.
Right.
I mean, it's not. They are spiritual tools. They're tools to really just look into our minds a little more. Like, I don't really get how people go out in public and do like high doses, which is cool. If you can handle that, that's cool. But for me, like, I last time I took it, I can remember not being able to, like, I just want to lay down. I just want to, like, sit down and just kind of breathe.
Everything's moving so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time I did about 2 grams of mushrooms and I went to a mall. Worst
Uh-huh.
idea of my life. There was just like so much going on. There was
Oh
too
my
many
God.
people. It was like consumerism and just, capitalism, America. And I'm just like, there's so much going through my head. And I'm like, there was, I went through a bad experience for a reason. It's because you're not supposed to do it like that. It was just a lesson. Don't, these things are to, like you said, to be respected, to be seen as tools to learn and to grow, and as medicines. Essentially, these are medicines.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, pretty profound. From those microdosing, I don't know, I want to keep exploring. I've been taking it every day since I got it, and
Mhm.
it's great. Like I said, I encourage everybody to go check it out. And yeah, I usually take a little bit of that, a little bit of cannabis tincture, and I just get to these like really calm states. I gave some to my girlfriend, and last night, and she woke up this morning and just had like so much energy. Like, I don't know if like something overnight happened or some kind of like, but she just woke up at like 5 in the morning and was just like ready to go. And it's funny because I did that too on the first night.
Uh-huh.
And then I woke up yesterday morning, like with so much energy, just invigorated, just ready to go. And I'm just like, okay, there's something to this. I don't usually feel like this. Like there's something, and I want to know. Like I think there needs to be more study into like the Be Happy Vine, because there's power in it. There is. And you say it's like connecting to Mother Ayahuasca, right? Which totally believe that. Like I'm on your wavelength on that. But what's actually happening chemically in the mind? Like there has to be some kind of chemical component in that affects would you say it affects our intuition? Like it's more of like a intuitive thing? Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know. There has to be more research that goes into that, because it's not like a placebo thing, or it's just not really something that is, you know, playing tricks on my head. Like there is something to it, and I'm gonna keep using it. I've been using it like twice a day, every day. I think it's great. It's great.
It causes new neural pathways.
Yeah, I think
What
it does.
BCAPI does.
It's
It
like
rewires the
neurogenesis.
brain. And that's what I was noticing when I started microdosing. I
Hmm.
mean, I was still working 12 hours a day, but I would get up and I was happy. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what the heck? And I think, and I attributed a lot of that with just loving myself and taking good care of myself.
Hmm.
But you are right. You feel like really energetic and you feel like intuitive, that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think, like I said in the beginning, it's like this slight energy, but also at the same time a nice calming feeling. It's hard to explain. It's like clarity yet calming. Well, like I said, I've only been taking it for 2-3 days. I wish I had it sooner before this interview. Definitely gonna dive into it more, because I don't see anything, it hasn't hurt me at all. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think the Mother Ayahuasca is interacting with me. There's some kind of connection. It's kind of calling me to the vine.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I think it's a great experience. It feels good. So I like things that make me feel good. Oh
Yeah,
man.
definitely she will call you when it's time.
Mm, that's what I've heard. I
I mean,
mean,
that's what
people.
happened with me 2 years ago was, I mean, I was just so disgusted in the psychiatrist's office, I'm like, well, none of this medicine, I mean, I'm suicidal and I've got PTSD and I'm 9 months clean and I've never felt really good,
Yeah.
and that was, I think it was, I knew that I wasn't going to get help from a doctor. And so I had to figure it out on my own.
Mm,
And I think we have to take responsibility for our own healing a
yeah.
lot of times. And I just went off the medicine then and I was like, and so I was able to find a ceremony like 2 months later.
Mm,
And it was just, I never had to go back on the medicine.
yeah. That's amazing. That's great. That's
Yeah.
like, how many other millions of people are in your position? I mean, you think it's millions? Yeah, probably millions
Oh
of
yeah.
people,
Oh
and
yeah.
that are in your position that need this help, that one, don't know about it, or if they do know about it, two, don't even have access to it. It's too many to even comprehend. So I mean, that's why it's important for you to tell your story, for anybody listening to tell their story if they have any kind of experience with it, and to spread the good word, because it can save lives. And
And
that's
it's
not
legal.
even. And it's legal. Yeah,
It's
of course,
legal.
it's legal.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Just speaking about your company, the Ayahuasca Microdosing, 100% legal. Ships right to your house. I mean, what more do you want? It's
And if you are on antidepressants, it's okay to take with it because it's just a microdose. But
mhm.
if you were to go into a full ceremony, I think you need to be off like medications for like 2 weeks or a month or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that's because it reacts with your your
Yeah. I think it'd
your
be dangerous.
serotonin
Yeah.
receptors and like DMT. It's just not good. I heard you can get like a psychotic or manic event from it if you know messing with your neurotransmitters in your brain. So yes, definitely proceed with caution and yeah, just like use these tools safely.
Right.
Exactly. I
Right.
think you making the decision to change yourself and get off the pharmaceuticals. I think that was the beginning of the journey. Even before you
Uh-huh.
took any of the ayahuasca, it was right then
Started
and
working
there.
on me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was where you decided like I'm gonna live for myself. Like I think the ayahuasca maybe just helped you guide you along that path, but it didn't even seem to come from the plant. You know, there was something guiding you to say like I gotta stop. Like what was that? Like what made you say like was there just like one event where you just like I gotta change my ways? Did you see something online? Like what led you to ayahuasca?
Well, it was just I had been on antidepressants since I was like 15 years old. And I can't honestly say that when I got off the antidepressants was when I became undepressed. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was because of the ayahuasca or like the medicine was just making me so numb
Mm,
that I didn't have any emotions whatsoever. I was just totally numb.
yeah.
And and I didn't feel like myself,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I've heard a lot of people that go to psychiatrists say, I don't even know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
Um, because I think they change us to who we're not, you know.
You said they think the drugs change us like over time.
Yeah, I think they do.
I think so
Really
too.
do.
I mean, it's inevitable, right? If you take some kind of substance for X amount of years, like obviously your brain's going to change and get used to that hormone intake or like that neurotransmitter being filled, like
Mhm.
that void in your brain being filled by this artificial chemical. Like obviously that's going to change how you think, right?
And it's not natural. And what
Yeah.
we're putting in our bodies is not natural.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can be really dangerous.
Mm.
Um, and these medicines that they have nowadays, it's grown from your yard or, it's not in a pharmaceutical lab,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't think that that's helpful, but
I mean, it can be in some circumstances, but for the long term,
right.
there's a lot of people that it's just like it's not the right idea because
Right.
it's just putting a band-aid over a very large open wound, and it's just like keep putting band-aids over it, and it's just it. But you really have to be the one to seal the wound and heal the wound. But if you just keep putting the band-aids over it, which it's just not going to work. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and people are going to lose themselves. Essentially, that's what happens. It's so sad to see and know that there's millions of people out there that are suffering, that all if they only knew about these plant medicines, if they only took the chance to learn a little more, read a little more, listen to a little bit of podcast, whatever it is, to kind of dive into it and give it a chance, open your mind, and yeah, that's just kind of like take the dive into it, like step off the edge for a bit, take a risk, and kind of like do it safely, obviously, and think about it responsibly, but just kind of like seek alternatives, then there could be so much less suffering.
Mhm. I think as a society, we depend on doctors and think of them as our saviors,
Yeah,
you
that's what.
know,
Mhm.
when it's really just up to us to figure out what works best for us.
Yeah.
And Of course, and I think pharmaceuticals are fine for like acute problems, but I don't believe pharmaceutical drugs are good for like, you know, years and years of depression,
Yeah.
PTSD, because basically you're just putting off feeling what you're supposed to be feeling. So,
Yeah. That's what it is, how we're supposed to be feeling. That's what it is. Is you're
yeah.
running away how you're supposed to feel. And sometimes how you're supposed to feel isn't good. We're not
Mhm.
always supposed to feel good, or we're not always supposed to feel not bad, because that's essentially what it is. The people, or we don't want to feel not bad. We don't want to suffer. But sometimes we have to feel that and truly just internalize it, feel that, and then let it go. Yes. But if you're not gonna be able to let it go if you don't confront it and feel it.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's something that's like that's a way to live your life. That's like a yogic way, you know, it's kind of like learning how to play the game of life. It's not always pretty, but if you know that there is, like we talked about before, this thing that is inside of us, it's always there for us. That is guiding us along the way. That's has the best interest in mind, even though sometimes it doesn't seem like it.
Mhm.
Sometimes it may be hard to see the little light in the darkness, but there's always that uh the silver lining in I guess all of our events in life, right? Like if I guess if you really think about it, everything this is cliche, here we go. Everything happens for a reason. And it's so we can grow karmically.
Right. Yeah. Just like, with my ex-husband, I mean,
Yeah.
he was abused like that,
Mm-hmm.
but he was molested as a child. But we're not taught to like talk about this kind of stuff in school or by our parents or whoever.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, if he had gotten help earlier, then maybe he would have spared our daughter.
Most likely. Yeah.
But we're not supposed to talk about stuff like that. It's supposed to be hidden. And I'm hoping that society, I mean, we're able to help people like that, because it was done to him.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
giving him a pass or anything because I mean that was his own child. I mean, I just couldn't imagine
Yeah.
even if that was done to me. I couldn't have done that. But it's something that he was repeating, because it was
Yeah.
done to him. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that, but
That's what takes a mature mindset to be able to come to that conclusion, because
Mhm.
just because you understand doesn't mean it makes it okay. Doesn't mean you say, like, you give them a pass and be like, oh, that happened to you, so that's why you did that. That doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
okay. But if you can understand, then yeah, then that allows you to just
Mhm.
yeah, just see why this happened. And if you can see why, then yeah, I don't know. That just reflects on how mature your mindset is and how you can kind of grow from that, because that is like a power to be able to see why certain things happen to certain people. That is, and you should be proud to be able to think that way, because I don't think I would be able to, like, it's almost like would you say you forgive them? Did you forgive, or do you
He
understand?
was easiest to forgive out of everybody because I just knew how sick he was.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, he was easier to forgive than maybe somebody like my parents.
Oh.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't know.
Yeah, I
I just
feel you.
I just knew that he was just real sick, and he had a lot of demons that. And the thing about him was everybody liked him.
Oh,
I
so
mean,
it's
everybody liked him. So I'm sitting here going, what?
wow.
Yeah.
So it was all this facade.
Yeah. He was an actor. He was an actor.
Mm-hmm. Well, aren't we all?
Yeah.
You just gotta play the right part in life,
Yeah.
thing is, we are all acting in a certain way. It's just that how we act, there's a certain way to act. There's a certain kind of path to take. There's a certain kind of way to maneuver in this life, how to act, and that's through selflessness and care for the other person and sincerity and compassion. And that those tenets are things to live by and things to act according to. That's how we act. That's how in the stage, in the play of life, it's not through abuse and seeing that we're all the same. It's tough. It's gonna sound so simple, right? To be able to like think like that, and that is true. And it seems like such a simple conclusion to come to, right? To be like, yeah, of course I'm gonna respect others, and it's easier to say than actually do, I guess, or it's easier to like just say to somebody than actually internalize. But it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Man,
I wish I had known all this years ago, but I had to go through all this to.
Better late than never. It's okay.
Right. I mean, at least I'm not like 80 years old, figuring this out.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's a reality for a lot of people. Sometimes I think it's a reality until some people take their last breaths in life, and then it's just like a J. Cole, the rapper, he has a lyric that says, "My only fear in life is a regret-filled coffin," and that line just sticks with me because I think it's true for a lot of people. I don't know, but I would think there's a lot of people in life that lay their heads down and say like, "Oh shit, like, damn, I didn't take this in.
Right.
I didn't tell this person I love them. I didn't do X. I didn't do Y." There's a lot of regret, and I don't know what I'm trying to get at. I think it's good that like no matter what, as long as you're here, breathing, able to like still do your thing with the ayahuasca microdosing, you're still able to contribute. You're still able to act in that manner, and that's, you don't have to feel bad for yourself that it came so late, quote unquote. It was meant to be. It was how it was supposed to happen. It was the time and place for everything, and
It
your
happened
time.
perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Your time was in for this time now and in this body, when some people, a lot of people, aren't even going to feel that. They're never going to feel that in this body, at least in this time in 2020. It might take a few lifetimes after,
Right.
or never. I don't know. I don't really know how it works. I'm not the divine creator, but I just know that there's some people not on that wavelength, and I don't think they're ever going to get on that wavelength. Unfortunately, I think everybody is capable, but I don't think it's going to happen. And if if that's something you don't forget, once you go on that wavelength of self-love, of growth, knowing that you're responsible for how you conduct yourself in this life, you're solely responsible. That's it. And be happy about that. It's a blessing, because
Right.
with that comes clarity, with that comes relaxation, knowing that there's a greater purpose, and it comes peace, there comes liberation, and just like a general sense of well-being. It's all good. It's like that whole package of just being a good person. It just, selflessness comes with just feeling good as well. It's a beautiful thing.
Exactly.
I mean, with that, I don't really know where else to take this thing. If you have any other, if you have any questions to ask me, or any finishing statements, closing statements, anything else you'd like to say, you can say it now.
Well, just if you have any questions, you can always if any of your viewers have any questions, you can always like type me a message on my website, and I always get back and can answer any questions that anybody has. I usually tell like all my clients to start off with 5 drops. Once a day, twice a day is great.
Yeah, that's what I'm at right now.
And I've seen a lot of my clients get off like drugs like Xanax, different types of medicines with this microdosing. And I think it just takes a lot of consistency, like it takes it's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And just like when you use your drops, I always set an intention, of what I want to learn that day, or want to what kind of habit that I want to develop, or what, and that really helps a lot. And I like to do it before I meditate,
Yes.
and I can get all kinds of downloads, probably too many downloads, but
Yeah, I did a meditation session yesterday with some drops and got into a very, very deep state.
uh-huh.
And yeah, definitely gonna explore it more. That's for sure. If anybody else wants to explore it, like I said, they can go to Ayahuasca Microdosing.com. Got the little bottle right here of tincture, 100% legal. They'll ship it right to your house. It is use the keyword conscious for anyone listening. Get 10% off your order. Rachel will make it. She makes it with love. She will ship it with love, and hopefully you'll feel the love as well. But yeah, I mean, I can totally endorse it. I feel great from it. Like I said, it's just like this weird sense of energy, but ultimately you just kind of have to feel it yourself. So give it a shot. You're not gonna purge or anything. You're not gonna go crazy seeing the weird dragons. You're just gonna feel good.
Yep.
So yeah, other than that, Rachel, I really appreciate you coming on, doing this thing, getting in touch with me. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep doing your thing. Keep your head up high. I know it may seem tough sometimes for everybody listening. Got some crazy shit going on in the world, but you know what? There is that peace on the inside that we can all tune into. You just have to know where to tune into, know where to look, and take time for yourself every day, and just it's that easy. We all just gotta love ourselves a little bit more, and these plant medicines help us do that. So if you'd like, they're our allies. So yeah. Other than that, thank you again. And yeah, be well.
All right.
Namaste.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.